Welcome back and moving on to our first segment for today, talking about the bilateral talks taking place between President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and King Abdullah II, who is visiting Egypt on Wednesday. Well, over the phone we have Dr. Hassan Wagih, Professor of Political Science. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning.
So, first of all, I would like to shed the light on the discussions that took place, and especially there are more talks regarding the current situation in Gaza and reaching a ceasefire, immediate ceasefire actually, and allowing all means of humanitarian aid to enter to the people without conditions.
Yes, the two leaders, the President Fattah al-Sisi and the King Abdullah, each one of them is exerting a great deal of effort to put a stop on this crazy war, I would say. And they have been exerting a great deal of effort, and they try to coordinate among themselves all the steps that should be taken, especially that there are good signs in Lebanon where there is a ceasefire. Hopefully it will continue to be like that and it will go well. But the point is this. The root of the problem is in Palestine, in Gaza. It's not only in Gaza, but the settlers are doing a great deal of violence against Palestinians and in the West Bank, and also they came very close to our border. So there is tense situations that must be there must be efforts to be exerted to de-escalate and to get a settlement for all fronts.
Well, how far can this meeting build on the recent summit that took place recently in Riyadh, the extraordinary Arab and Islamic one?
Yes, the summit must have its own implementation points because the summit gathered twice last year and this year, and I think that there is some sort of coordinating efforts and ideas how to deal with these challenges for the entire, not only for the entire area, but for the entire world. And I think that diplomatic efforts are being exerted, especially when we have, in these days, there is something called solidarity with the Palestinians. This is this year's commemoration of the International Day, what they call it, International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people, which is hosted by the United Nations. And you know that I think that King Abdullah mentioned this kind of resolution that resulted in having a committee on the inalienable rights of the Palestinian people. This committee is very important. It has international elements from all over the world, and they are watching out for the situation. And I think that this year of commemoration of solidarity with the Palestinians is essentially painful. As the fundamental goals, as you know, the rights of the Palestinian people, their dignity, their justice, their self-determination, all of these are far distant from being achieved, unfortunately. But this committee is very important. It has 11 members from different continents of the world, and it was issued through the United Nations, and it was mentioned by the King Abdullah, and I think he's okay, he's right, of course, because what we need is a great deal of international support. The international community should have its input. It's a very important input to put a stop on the war, to bring back the Palestinian problem into a solution. The two-state solution is the one that should be achieved, despite the fact that we are working on that, but the situation needed to be improved when it comes to this point.
Well, also the talks included the situation in Lebanon, and the two leaders were discussing means of supporting the Lebanese people and to complete the ceasefire that took place.
Yes, I think that what happened in Lebanon is a very important lesson for everyone, especially for the Israelis, that if you try to destroy cities and to try to do this kind of highly aggressive attitude towards your neighbor without getting into the diplomatic track as it should be. I think that they got even. No one achieved victory. And no one will achieve victory by the zero-sum mentality. The zero-sum mentality would get everyone in a losing track. So I think what's happening in Lebanon should be a lesson for everyone. And I hope that everything will get into the right track for the sake of everyone in this area.
Well, how far is the role of the international community in assuming its responsibilities to ensure delivery of humanitarian aid to the Strip and to the people who are suffering in both countries, actually, emphasizing also the pivotal role of the UNRWA in this respect as well?
Yes, the international community should exert far more decisive role than it is now, because even the Committee for Palestine and everyone have already witnessed that there is a genocide, and there is a genocide and the war of getting people hungry and without water, without electricity, without all means of life. So I think it has become clear to the extent that the European Union agreed, all its countries now agreed on the resolutions by the two courts, the International Court of Justice and the International Criminal Law. And the warrant of arrest for the terrorist who has done that is being launched, and it has to be implemented, and many countries really consented on that. So if this is a situation, there should be much more stronger kind of action and move to help the Palestinians, to save the Palestinians, to get them back to their very, very basic rights.
Well, on the other side, how do you see the importance of expanding the bilateral trade and economic cooperation between both countries during this critical period of time?
Yes, I think that Egypt is very keen to have this kind of bilateral communication and bilateral cooperation between all the countries that we have a relation with. I think that even in BRICS, even when the president went to Brazil last time for that meeting, also we had signed several treaties, and we raised the level of kind of relation to a strategic level with so many partners in the world. And I think this is very important for the developmental efforts and for sustaining peace in the world too.
Well, the concept of creating a UN mechanism to observe and follow up on the delivery of the humanitarian aid to enter to the Strip. How far is this important? Actually, both leaders were discussing this to implement the UNSC resolution.
Yes, as I've said, there should be some kind of pressure, or some kind of stronger and more decisive moves, because aids are available, and many countries wanted to pour aid into the Palestinian land, but well, there is deliberate obstacles, and the Israelis have already targeted these things, rejected UNRWA, banned so many things like that. So it's a matter of not to do, but how to get Israel to abide by the international law and to be a state that is that's abiding by the international laws.
Meeting the tackle of security of the navigation in the Red Sea, whether we are talking about the facilities provided for trade or the national security of Egypt, this was another topic that was discussed as well.
Yes, of course, the navigation in the Red Sea is one of the topics among the two leaders, but it's also among the entire involved powers in the world. And this has a global scale, and it must be addressed globally also. Yes.
Also talking about on the trilateral level when it comes to Egypt, United Arab Emirates and Jordan, talking about a major economic sector.
Yes, when we are talking about the need for economic cooperation, we should look at the near countries. The world now has changed from globalization to regionalism. So I think that regional countries are worthy of being cooperated with more than anything else.
Well, the talks also touched on ways that can bolster constructive partnership and resolving regional issues, right?
Yes, of course. Partnership is there between Egypt and Jordan. The relationship is excellent and it is growing. And we have the same faith, and we have to face it together in all aspects, economic and political and militarily and everything.
Right. Dr. Hassan Wagih, Professor of Political Science, always a pleasure having you with us on the show. And moving on to a quick break, then we'll be back with more on the Breakfast Show.